So let's continue to look forward here as we get to the end of 2020. Here's the last day of the year. You can see what's happening. The inner planets are coming across the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto. And we looked earlier at how last year, when the Sun conjoined Jupiter and Saturn, Pluto, that's kind of when everything got going. Like the story really opened up. And I'm seeing this to be a potent time when the Sun and Mercury and then Venus go across Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in the first 2-3 months of 2020. Well, actually, let's just take a look at it. It's the Sun is starting to come on here at the end of the year, and then you can see it's like a Sun Mercury Pluto triple conjunction, January 5th, really strong, and so if we go forward, check this out. There's a big alignment in Aquarius that comes in, and here it comes. There's the moon. I think there's another one that comes with the Sun in there the following month, but here January 13th, Moon, Jupiter, Mercury, Saturn quadruple conjunction, and the Sun coming onto Pluto. So the Sun going across the Saturn-Pluto conjunction one last time, and the Sun going across the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, and just lighting them up, putting a spotlight on them. And so, yeah, it's, I think, for the rest of this year and all of January, it's just like totally on. The whole thing's in a spotlight, and it's like, where's the story going to go? How's it going to conclude? So if we then go forward a little more, you can see, here the Sun is coming onto Saturn and Jupiter around January 20th when the Sun moves into Aquarius. And then you can see at this point, January 26th, it's right between Jupiter and Saturn. So, I mean, that's a super strong Jupiter-Saturn conjunction there. This is the moment when the Earth is on one side of the Sun, and Jupiter and Saturn are as far away from the Earth as possible. And so that's a kind of unique moment. Anyway, it's just super activating it, and then you can see Venus now is coming back onto it at the end of the whole thing. It started when Venus came on in November, December of 2019, and then Venus comes on here in January and February of 2021. It's like it comes back to the heart, it comes back to love. It's like Venus brings her sweetness and kindness to the story. I think that's kind of beautiful that Venus is going to be the last planet to go across everything. I think we'll see Mercury goes retrograde, but yeah, Venus is at the end here, and she brings us back to our hearts, back to love. And so I think it's going to be very interesting to see how we are with that. I think it'll be a really special time for kind of meditating on coming back to the heart and remembering the heart and coming from a place of love and kindness in the midst of what clearly is an ongoing very, very difficult moment in human history. And so Venus will come in like a good friend, like a loving, kind friend or lover, and she'll whisper in our ears and help us remember how sweet life can be, even in the midst of it all. So, okay, here she is, conjunct Pluto at the end of January, and then she moves on to Saturn in the beginning of February, and Jupiter. You see it So like I've been saying, I said recently, I I thought it's like we're aiming for a landing, trying to bring our dragon in for a landing. And it's like I'm aiming for Valentine's Day. Like you can see how Venus is coming on to everything in early February. And of course, Valentine's Day is Venus's holiday. And so I think if we set an intention right now that we're aiming to bring our dragon in for a safe landing onto a stable new timeline, if we aim for Valentine's Day, it's like the intention from now till then is to come more and more into our hearts, to come more and more into a perspective that remembers that love is a part of it all and that she helps us through it. And so, yes, that's happening in February. And look at this amazing. Oh, yeah, this is what I was talking about. Look at all those planets in Aquarius: Saturn and Venus and Jupiter and the Moon and Mercury and the Sun. That's amazing. On February 10th, that's a 6-planet stellium in Aquarius. Okay, I'll be saying more about that in a future video. But look at that. That is awesome. Right at the new moon. Right at the new moon. So that new moon on February 10th and 11th is really special. A really special moment for coming back into our hearts and feeling the love of the divine feminine and how she heals all wounds. And yes, so lovely. And so Mercury goes retrograde here. So it goes back. And Mercury retrograde, of course, is a great time for kind of reflecting on things and integrating things through our mind travels. So that's what happens here. Mercury starts to go retrograde. Venus moves away. Venus is moving around the sun, and she's going to come back. At this point, you're not going to be able to see Venus by February. She will be leaving her amazing presence in the morning as a morning star. She's going to come back later in 2021 as an evening star. Oh, it's so amazing when she comes back as an evening star. And so that's going to be happening later in the year, though. This is kind of the last time where things are kind of tied together by an inner planet. And so right here, February 18th, you can see Mercury right between Jupiter and Saturn. That's going to be like such an important time for, thinking things through, writing things down, integration through journaling and conversation. And I think like going back in time with the mind, but also having a big perspective that can see 12 years ahead and doesn't just look back over the last year, but has an even bigger perspective of the last 12 years. That Jupiter scale of thought, at the same time really grounded and focused and pragmatic. This is going to be a helpful time for your mind, I think, and we'll talk about that when we get to February. And so let's see. Do I want to say anything more? Here's Mercury Direct. When does Mercury really move off? It's around here, March 11th. Well, not quite, a little bit further. So mid-March. By then, Jupiter's 10 degrees past Saturn. It never gets back within the 10-degree range. And so things are kind of shifting here. Jupiter's not square Uranus by March. Saturn is exactly square Uranus. And there's a lot more that could be said about that. Has a lot to do with finding stability in times of uncertainty. And so that's when I think there'll be a definitive shift into whatever 2021 is going to be. And so let's see here. So I think this is good. I think I don't want to go too much further here into 2021, although just to note, around mid-March, you also get this amazing triple conjunction of Sun, Venus, and Neptune in Pisces. It's a tight triple conjunction. And that is the finale of the heart opening that Venus is calling us towards in the coming months. So, yes, Sun, Venus, Neptune triple conjunction, Venus moving towards being an evening star, but not for a while. When does Venus needs to get quite a bit away? She doesn't come in. She probably won't be visible as an evening star until maybe, no, it's not enough. Where does she do it? I bet around here in May, Venus will come back as a morning star right when she would have been in that triple conjunction. Venus, Sun, Uranus, this quadruple conjunction earlier there. Mercury, Venus, Sun, Uranus, quadruple conjunction right here. That's another special date to be thinking about. End of April. It's all square Saturn, so that's complex, and we'll have to go into more detail later. But wow, this is there's some special waves to be catching. You know, astrology, I think, is about surfing time waves and kind of setting yourself up for multiple waves, catching sets of waves, where one time wave leads really nicely into the next time wave, and the next, how do I want to say it? When you kind of aim for the more yummy timelines and you manage to catch the wave that lands you on the yummy timeline, and then on that yummy timeline there's another yummy time wave, and it kind of keeps going like that. So, okay, I think I'm going to end with this chart. There's one more piece that I'm going to do, and it's going to be just looking at that heliocentric perspective, top-down perspective. This will just take 5 minutes, and it'll just give you a sense from more pure astronomy perspective of what we just looked at in a two-dimensional chart. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And then it's safe sailing into the great beyond for everybody. Okay, I hope you're set up well now for moving forward, maximizing this trip that we're on around the solar system. And yeah, I think you can see it's a pretty amazing sequence of alignments that leads all the way through the spring of 2021. And so you got to use all those powers that you developed throughout the year, your Dragon Rider powers. And now it's like you get to show off a little bit, maybe. Who knows? Okay, blessings. And then we're going to go into the other star map. Okay, so we were just looking at the astrological way of representing the sky, a two-dimensional representation where the upper half represents the visible sky, the lower half, the invisible sky. And this is now a heliocentric perspective, a top-down perspective where it's like we're outside of the solar system looking down, so that I find it really good to look at this version to just feel into what the actual solar system planetary dynamics are. You feel them more moving around the sun, and the Earth is in a dance with all of them. It really helps me to kind of feel it in an embodied way, versus when I look at the other, it's a little more mental. This, I don't know, this to me is more and more the practice of trying to feel myself as the Earth, as a planet scale consciousness, going around the solar consciousness with all the other planets moving around in a dance with each other and with us. And this is what our practice is, profoundly reflecting and engaging in this mysterious dance of the planets. And so here we are on theplanetstoday.com, amazing app that they have, and here you can see the Earth, and we've just moved really close to Mars earlier this year, and so the Earth has come past Mars now, and you can see how close Mars is to Uranus as the Earth moves further around. From our perspective, we'll be able to see a direct line through Mars and then out through Uranus. And as we were talking about, when it does become exact, it'll be in an exact 90-degree angle with Jupiter and Saturn. But before we go there, I want to just go back in time to kind of parallel what we did with the astrology chart. And so we're going back in time to now we're in late, where are we? Oh, we're in, okay. And now we're in July. I just want to go back to, yeah, I think it's good to go backwards. Let's go back to the end of 2019. Here we are in February. And now December, and let's pause. What did we end up on? November 7th. That's kind of where we were looking on the astrology. That's cool. So here's the Earth and the Moon. And where's Venus? Where's Venus? The Earth is in November coming into a conjunction with Venus and Jupiter, and then it'll be Venus and Saturn and Pluto. So let's just watch that. What we talked about earlier, but now represented through the movement of, let's see what pace we want here. There, we're moving. So this is November 13th. You can see, yeah, this Earth is in alignment with Venus and Saturn by November 26th. And then it's with Pluto as well. Earth, Venus, Pluto. And then now the Earth is going to go back here where the Sun, we're back behind the Sun, and that's when you get a Sun, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, quadruple conjunction in December. Well, it's yeah, basically the Sun going across them in sequence. And then now as we get into late December, you can see how tight this Sun, Saturn, Pluto triple conjunction is. And you can see Jupiter is moving towards Saturn. Saturn's been in a conjunction with Pluto all of 2019. So this is the second really big year 2020 has been of the tightest conjunction phase of Saturn and Pluto. And here we are at the end of January now. Jupiter getting closer from our perspective. You see how Mars is coming around? As we head towards March, you get to see this amazing Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto quadruple conjunction. Here we are, February 11th. And yeah, from our perspective, you can see now, this was in the morning sky. As we get into February, in the early morning, you could see Jupiter and Saturn getting pretty close together. And here Mercury came into conjunction with them. Is that right? No, Mercury's not in there. But you can see Mars is coming. Venus, the evening star, Venus moving towards the Earth when she went retrograde and dropped from the evening sky to where she is now as a morning star. Here we are, March 4th. See how close Mars is coming in? And you can even track the moon here going around the Earth. And here we are at April 16th. Moon, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto. It's been, this is what we've been looking at. And every month, the moon comes around and joins Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto. And in March and April, it was with Mars as well. It was so striking. Where are we now? May. And I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit here. Let's pick up the pace. Well, you can see by this point how close the conjunction is in May of Jupiter, Saturn. Really getting into tight alignment. Very precise. And we're in June. Oops. July. You see the Earth got really close to Jupiter and Saturn in June and July when Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto went retrograde. And now this is October. let's pause for a moment. At this point, Mars, you can see, is in that 90-degree square to Jupiter and Saturn. So this is that long square when the Earth has passed closest to Mars. And Mars went retrograde earlier this year. I was calling it the season of Mars when the California fires happened. And this is Mars activating everything again and putting everything into movement. So it's like by the time we get to October, I feel like it kind of felt like the energy was moving forward, and it's been like that ever since. And so let's see here. You can see in October, that's when Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto in their closest range to each other from the Earth's perspective up here. Not totally exact. They got within 4.5 degrees, which we looked at in the astrology chart. And so, yeah, this is when everything's really peaking in October and November in terms of the Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto being in a triple conjunction. But now as we move into November and December, is when Jupiter and Saturn are really coming into their exact precision, which you can see here. This is November 5th. They're just getting closer and closer. They're actually moving away from Pluto down here. You can see if you trace a line from the Earth to Pluto, it's like now they're moving over. And let's see. Where are we? November 30th. We're getting close to where we are right now. And here we are. It's today. This is today. This is with Jupiter and Saturn 1.5 degrees apart. And really starting to move away from Pluto. Everything's moving out of Capricorn, moving into Aquarius. You see that? Here's Capricorn. They're going to cross this line. Where are we? 12/28. That's already happened basically from the Earth's perspective. And now we're in January. And Mars is coming into that exact square. Mars is coming into alignment with Uranus. The Mars-Uranus conjunction, square to the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. This is what's happening, everybody. It's really popping. It's really popping. It's still Jupiter-Saturn-Pluto conjunction, really strong in early February, but you can see from the Earth's perspective, Jupiter is starting to move. But here's Venus. Remember, Venus starts to come onto the Jupiter-Saturn-Pluto as we get into February and March. And so this is when Venus is about to become an evening star again, when it comes out the other side here and starts coming towards us. And where are we? March. This is, I think by here Mercury's moved off, Jupiter's separating, and there's other stuff happening. Mars is way off of Uranus here by April, and we're into a new timeline. You can still see Saturn square to Uranus, though. That's the dominant energy of 2021 and 2022, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to have plenty to say about it later, but I just wanted to show you the star maps, everybody, and I hope this has been helpful. And I'm sending so many blessings, and I hope you're going to get out and see all of this, especially for the rest of December into early January. Just get outside as much as possible. Bundle up if you have to, but you got to watch it and take it in and reflect on it and let it guide your choices and actions. I think there's the timelines where you don't spend any time outside looking at the stars. And then there's the timelines where you spend a little bit. And then there's the timelines where you spend as many nights as possible just taking in this exact Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. It's never going to happen again for 60 years anyway. So I think you get my message. And sending so much love and light from Sarasota, Florida. Sending love from my heart to yours. And so many blessings. Blessings. Take care.